so much for being first. Very tired. I am tired. I'm tired, and I want to watch Dragon Ball. I don't want to be here. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I want to be here, but also I started watching Dragon Ball, and now I'm like, I kind of want to watch Dragon Ball. I'm like, damn, I had to stop watching Dragon Ball to read a fucking book. I'm like, here we go again. Here we go. No, I'm watching Daima. Yeah, I'm watching Dragon Ball Daima. I'm on episode 7. So, it's great. I love it. It's great. It's been very nostalgic because I haven't watched Dragon Ball in a very long time. So, I was like, wow, I love Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is so much fun to watch. I remember being mentally ill about Dragon Ball. This is great. This is fantastic. I'm gonna be mentally ill about Dragon Ball for the next 3 days. Until I watch something else. This is fantastic. I'm like, wow. It's all coming back to me now. It's all coming back. It's truly great. Like, it's truly great. It's good. I mean, I'm not done with the show. Obviously, I'm only on episode 7, but I am enjoying myself. And to be honest, all I want to do tonight is just watch Dragon Ball. But I can't, and then tomorrow I have to go to work, so I still can't watch Dragon Ball, and then I gotta go home, so I'm not gonna get home until like late. So I'm not gonna be able to watch Dragon Ball until the end of the day. I already calculated all of this. I'm like, I'm not finishing this show tonight. It's so annoying. Hate it here. Hate it here. I have to go to work on Monday. I don't know what you're talking about. After that, I'm going straight to work. I mean, I'll watch Dragon Ball when I come home because I'm not gonna stream tomorrow. So, you think work stops Monday? We keep it going. I don't get off until Thursday. My weekend starts on Friday. I gotta go to work. I'm going to work. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Everybody's job is closed except for me because I work a very specific job and my job is open. So, my job is open. I'm going to work. I'm scheduled. I'm going to work. I know, Saiyan was asking the same thing and they were like, at least you have Monday off. I was like, I do not have Monday off. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I work all throughout the holidays. It's not holiday pay, I just work. It's not holiday pay, it's just work. I don't work for an agency. I think people like are confused because like you only get the holiday off if you work for an agency because your agency, like an actual agency, has to like they have to legally provide it for you. They have to legally provide it for you. They have to do it. But it's like if you are a contracted worker and or it depends on how you are billed, I guess, on whether or not you actually get a holiday. So if you work for a company that bills you as a contracted worker, you don't get the holiday. I mean, I used to work for an agency, like a government agency, and I got holidays off, but like, I don't now, so. I'm going to work. Yeah, like, I mean, a lot of my friends work for the government, and they're gonna get Monday off. A lot of my friends work for the government, they're gonna get Monday off. I don't work for the government. like school. Like a school is like a government or a state and government. I guess it also depends on what state you're into. State contracted jobs like schools, I'm trying to think, non-profits sometimes, hospitals, depending on the hospital, it depends. Also high sleepy, it depends. I just always think about schools because I used to work at a school, so I'm like schools. I don't know. Mac, you can exit stage left. You know that, right? You can leave. Exit stage left. Also, before I watched Dragon Ball, I tried to watch Solo Leveling. I was actually like, okay, tonight I'm gonna watch Solo Leveling because I finished Mashley. I watched that, really enjoyed it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna knock out another shonen. I put on the first episode, and I was like, this was actually not what I thought it was going to be. I'm gonna turn that shit off. Actually, this was not what I thought it was gonna be. Ooh, I actually don't think I want to watch this. I'm gonna turn that shit off. I watched episode 1, and I was like, I think I know exactly what this show is, and I don't think I need to watch it, actually. I'll be waiting for Omniscient Reader, thank you. I'll be waiting for my actual peak, thank you. Omniscient Reader on the way, I'll actually be waiting for that one. Thank you. Check please. I've finished my meal here. Check please. Solo Leveling. The meal is over. Thank you. The minute I saw the girl talking about, oh, don't you want to take me out on a date? I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this is gonna be a power fantasy for losers. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This is gonna be a power fantasy for losers. I feel like that's what this is. I feel like that's what Solo Leveling is. And I did not know that. And I was like, damn. I bet it's gonna be like animated very well. And when I say that, please know I like power fantasies sometimes. So I'm in the camp of being a loser occasionally, but like, that is not what I googled, Mac. So the romance is later. He is in a relationship with that woman. He ends up with that woman, that blonde woman. The minute I saw her animated like that, I was like, I'm done here. I'm over it. I'm done here. I was like, oh, I don't want this. 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 I really don't want this. I was like, I bet it's gonna be animated really nice. Like, I'm sure the fight scenes or whatever are gonna be animated really nice, but I don't know, it didn't look that promising in terms of the plot, in terms of the actual plot. Like, I feel like I know exactly what's gonna happen in the entire show. So I'd rather watch something else. Let me guess. Homeboy is going to get stronger. He's going to get strong. And he's gonna become number 1. Homeboy is going to get stronger and he's going to become number 1, and he's gonna aura farm for the entire fucking show, and he's gonna be a badass, but like nobody's expecting that he's gonna be a badass because he was a loser. And he's gonna get the girl in the end. He's gonna get the girl in the end because he's that guy. You know, he has got big dick energy. Because he's gonna randomly absorb some sort of ability and become that guy. And then he's gonna wow everybody every single episode. Everybody's gonna underestimate him because they're not expecting him to be him with a capital H. They're not expecting it. So they're gonna be like, oh, this loser Isn't he like a D rank, E rank? But actually, he's got the aura inside of him that's making him an S rank. And he's going to show up on these hoes every single episode. And I was like, I don't want to watch that. I actually don't want to watch that. I mean, like, I know I said yesterday I like overpowered protagonists, but I only like it when it's in the context of a comedy, frankly. Because I think it's quite hilarious. Like, that premise is very funny. Like, an overpowered protagonist that, like, kind of doesn't care. That's why I love One Punch Man so much. And also because Saitama is a very nice guy. Like, he's just chill like that. He's just chill like that. And like Moshli was like the same thing. It's like he's just chill like that. So I was very much enjoying myself. But I was like, I don't know why, but it was giving me like Shield Hero vibes. I don't know why, but I kept thinking about Shield Hero when I was watching episode 1. I was like, I don't know, this guy looks like he's kind of a loser, and he's kind of like, he's kind of a loser. It's giving me Shield Hero vibes. I don't know. That's not a white cube, that's the, what is it called? That's the now playing. It's not a white cube, it's the now playing. You just can't see what I'm playing. I just don't think I'm gonna watch Shield Hero. Sorry, Shield Hero. Solo leveling. I was excited to watch it, and then I watched episode 1 and I was like, womp womp. I feel like I know exactly what's gonna happen in this plot. Womp womp. And it felt boring to me, personally. Like, it felt like it wasn't bad. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, it was bad. It was like a slog to get through. I watched the whole first episode, but I felt like I know exactly where it was gonna go, and I'm not really interested in seeing another generic protagonist or a farm his way to the top. I really don't care. I really don't care. I'm sure the aura farming is gonna be animated like very well, but it's like I can literally just watch something else. I didn't really care about the protagonist, and they tried to make me care. They were like, oh, his sister. He wants to pay for his sister to go to college. I don't know who that girl is. I don't know who she is. He has a girl that likes her, like his friend that likes him. I don't care about her either. By the end of the episode, I didn't care about anybody. His mom is in the hospital, and what am I supposed to do about that? What am I supposed? I'm already one step ahead of you, Mac. What am I supposed to do about that? That doesn't make me like you. You having a tragic backstory doesn't make me like you. You know who has a real tragic backstory? Dr. Doofenshmirtz. His mom, both his parents didn't show up for his birth. Now that's a real backstory. Both of his parents didn't show up for his own birth. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. That's not enough. They aren't doing enough. I was like, damn, this is what you guys were hyping up. We gotta wait until Omniscient Reader. That's the one that I need you guys to be hyping up. I was like, you guys were hyping up this. I mean, I only watched one episode, but I'm like, it just felt like so generic. I was like, I thought it was gonna have a more interesting plot. I'm not hating. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. I'm critiquing. These are two different things. I thought it was gonna have a more interesting plot. It's just so fucking generic. I couldn't believe it when I was watching it. I was like, oh my god, I got juked. You motherfuckers juked me. I got juked. What? I got juked. I got my fucking ankles broke. Watching this shit, I wasted my fucking time. Oh my god. It's literally Shield Hero all over again when I was like, why is everybody hyping up Shield Hero? And then I watched it and I was like, oh, boo. Tomato, tomato, tomato. I was like, wow, this is what you guys like. Boo, 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 tomato, 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 wah, wah. I did not like that. Shield Hero solo leveling was fine. It was fine. Mass appeal, I know, but that's so boring. Oh my god, that's so boring. I was like, really? I just thought it was gonna have a more interesting plot. It's just a generic power fantasy. Like, I didn't see anything that interesting regarding the plot. I don't know, maybe I need to give it another episode or something, but I was like, oh my god, I'm not sitting through this right now. Until way later on. What is way later on? I hate shows like that. I can't say I hate shows like that. Because in my opinion, the show should be good from episode 1. That's just my personal opinion. I think the show should be good from episode 1. People say that, what was that show? That one I just watched. It's the one that I just watched with Laios. Dungeon Meshi. People say that Dungeon Meshi is like that. I actually think Dungeon Meshi, it was okay from the start. Like, it was like Dungeon Meshi. It was like a slice of life at the start, but I mean, it did start gripping me like episode 5, but I was perfectly fine watching. I was like, oh, this is a cute little show. It was still like good from the start. It was still like good from the start. It just got better. Like, that show just got better and better and better. And I was like, oh, we are in the pits. We are in the pits. Right now, I am in the pits. Free me. Free me. So that's why I watched Dragon Ball instead. I was like, I gotta watch something else. I gotta reset my mind from this. I gotta reset myself from this. So, very much enjoying Daima. Very much enjoying that. That's great. It's gonna be another 9 out of 10. And it's gonna be a 9 out of 10. I can already tell. But, you know, I'm only 7 episodes in, so we'll see how I feel about it later when I'm fully done. It's a victim of being animated late because solo leveling's old, right? I mean, maybe they shouldn't have animated that shit then. That's just me. Maybe you shouldn't have animated that shit then. How about that? Maybe you should have kept that one locked up, kept it in the drafts. How about that? Maybe put those storyboards away, perhaps. You know, just an idea, a thought, perhaps. I was like, I know there's some manga that's waiting to be animated right now. Y'all could have spent your time doing that. There's a ton. I'm counting this as hating. I don't respect your bingo. You can count whatever you want. I don't respect your bingo. I'm not hating, I'm critiquing. I was about to say something crazy that would have been counted as hating though. I was about to I don't respect your bingo still. But I was gonna say I would have preferred watching Tokyo Revengers, I think, in that first episode. honestly would have. I think I would have. I would have had a better time watching Tokyo Revengers. Because it would have been funny for me to watch Takamichi fail again. I'm like, every season, Takamichi is failing. It would have been funny for me to watch that. It felt like I ate like tofu, you know, because like just regular tofu, like no flavoring, like no miso soup, like it didn't have any flavor. Where's the flavor? Where's the seasoning? You know, like I just absorbed material. I wasted 30 minutes of my time. I don't know how long that episode was. It just felt like I watched something and like nothing. It was so generic that like I didn't get anything from that. At least when I watched Tokyo Revengers, I'm sitting there astounded. I'm sitting there astounded. I'm like, damn, this is crazy that somebody would make this and this sold so well. This is crazy. So anyway, I'm watching Dragon Ball instead now, and I'm enjoying that. It made me want to go back and watch Dragon Ball Cell. I want to watch that. I wanted to just go back and watch Dragon Ball all over again. It was so good. I was like, wow, I love Dragon Ball. I love Goku. I love the power of beating random motherfuckers up. I love the power of hands. This is great. This is fantastic. Anyways, that's what I did today. I'm watching Daima, the new one. I thought Tokyo Revengers was alright. I have never thought that Tokyo Revengers was alright. My best friend, the only reason I even watched Tokyo Revengers is because my best friend locked me in her car. She locked me in her car and she ranted about this fucking show for 2 hours. And I was like, now I have to watch this show because it made you that mad. I have to watch this show. For 2 hours. For 2 hours, she went off about how garbage Tokyo Revengers was. And I have never seen her so passionate because she usually doesn't get passionate about television. She's actually one of those people where, like, she'll watch something and even if it's, like, kind of shitty, she's like, okay. She's like, you know, it was whatever. She's like, that was whatever. But she was so heated about Tokyo Revengers. I was like, wow, you actually hate this show. Like, you actually are not having a good time. And I was like, I have to watch this. I have to watch this. I have to see what made you crash out this bad. And I was like, okay, I understand it. What had her so everything? She hated everything about it. She hated literally everything. I gourmet, I. She hated everything about it. There wasn't a single thing she liked. I guess Mikey. She liked Mikey, but everybody likes Mikey, so. Like, I just remember I was laughing so fucking hard because I couldn't believe she was this mad about Tokyo Revengers. I was like, oh my god, you're gonna make me pee. Like, I was laughing so fucking hard. I've never seen her get that mad about, like, literally anything. I was like, I don't remember the last time you were this mad. I have to watch this show, and it really is bad. It's garbage. But, like, unlike her, I actually think it's, like, kind of peak garbage. Like, it's so bad. You just want to see, like, it's like a train wreck, you know? You're just like, wow, where does it go from here? Wow. Wow, this is something. This really is something. Anyway, so that's where I'm at right now. I did a coin flip and I was going to watch or 8. But Dragon Ball won the coin flip, so Dragon Ball won the coin flip, so that one's next. Unless I'm in a different mood, but that one's next on my priority. Solo Leveling got kicked to the curb. It's getting. Maybe I'll try that show in like a few. Maybe I'll try that one later. I'll try it again later, but if I give it like 2 chances and it's still not good, I'm done. I'm done. I'm over it. Windbreaker. I haven't watched Windbreaker yet, so it's on my list. I'll get around to it, but I was actually gonna watch Windbreaker, but because season 2 is currently airing, I figured I'm just gonna wait until season 2 is done. So when season 2 is finished, I will watch all of Windbreaker. Because I'm gonna blast through season 1, and then I don't like watching stuff week to week, so. I think it just depends on the show, on whether or not I'm enjoying the show, on whether or not I will give it more chances. But like most of the time, I give the show like 1 episode. I do not know. Do not talk about Point Breaker because I do not know, because I do not talk about it. I don't want to know anything about it before I watch it. I'm ignoring the chat right now. I'm ignoring the chat. I don't want to know anything about it, and I'm not getting there yet. I'm not there yet. I'm watching Dragon Ball. I'm locked in. I'm locked in on Dragon Ball right now. All I know is Goku. All I know is Goku. And Demon Worlds. And Space Goldfish. That's all I know. The beginning after the end. Wait, hold up. Oh no, the beginning after the end. What is that? You can't troll if I don't know what it is. I don't know what this is. Like for Dungeon Meshi, I was enjoying Dungeon Meshi, so I didn't really mind watching more of it because I was enjoying it. Even though it was like not really my thing at first. Ohio, thank you so much for the raid. Thanks much. How are you? I have never heard of this show in my life. Is this an isekai? I would have never known about this because I don't like isekai. I have all of that shit blocked. Blocked. I don't know anything about isekai. I'm sorry. That's not my genre. My least favorite genre. I'm not watching that. So I didn't even know about that anyway. But I will. Io. Thank you so much for the raid. That was Outer Worlds. Hello Raiders. My name is Puppkats. I'm a non-binary sexual sex demon. After nothing but your heart. Let's cut it out for me, won't you? I use they, them pronouns. They, them, theirs. And right now I am just chatting. I haven't started reading the book yet. isekai and I'm like already gagging. I'm already. We're just talking about anime. I look at isekai and I'm I'm already throwing up. Like, I don't want any piece of that. If you're hungry, tired, or sleepy, by the way, need to head out for whatever reason, you're free to exit stage left, and that applies to everybody, not just the readers, but anybody that was already here. I'm not hating. I don't like isekai. That does not mean I'm hating on it. I don't like it. I think hating has a very specific purpose. I don't enjoy isekai. I do not enjoy it. It's not for me. It's not for me. Happy for the rest of you, but you know, it's like that bitchless anime, you know, like bitchless anime is not for me, but like I'm happy that you guys get to experience it. It's just like I personally, you know, I felt the touch of a woman, so okay, that was hating. Yeah. Yes, I can't deny that one. So I just, you know, but you know, again, it's for you, not for me. It's for everybody else, not for me. You know, because it follows the same I'm reborn and I'm OP formula, right? No, I don't like isekai because isekai has a lot of tropes in it that I don't enjoy. But yeah, I mean, it's just like wish fulfillment, right? Which is fine. That's fine that it exists. It's just I don't gain anything from the wish fulfillment. When I watch like an isekai and it's like an overpowered protagonist that's like getting bitches, because a lot of isekai has like harem, which I don't enjoy either. And they're like getting bitches and like they're falling into titties and they're destroying all the bad guys. That's supposed to be like a wish fulfillment for the viewer, right? You're supposed to be like, yeah, like I wish I could be that guy, and it's like I have never wanted to be that guy. I don't like harems. I think harems are stupid. I think harems are dumb. And you might be like, Bob, don't you play otome games? I don't like it when I play otome games. I stick to one person if I play an otome game. I don't know if you know this about me. I am like religiously monogamous. Like I cannot be, but I can't like too many people at once. It's too much. It's way too much. I can't do it. Even when I play Love in Deep Space, I'm in love with Xavier. It's a struggle for me to go to the other guys. I'm like, oh, it feels like cheating. I'm like, I don't like it. It's just me and Xavier. I don't like it. So when I'm watching a harem, I'm not having a good time because why would I want to fuck that many bitches? It's too much. It's way too much. Oh my god. So I don't enjoy that. I also don't like perverted comedy. That's just not for me. This is just me talking about why I don't like isekai. But like, I don't like perverted comedy where it's like you're falling into panties and stuff like that, or you're falling into like a girl's tits or something. Like, I don't think it's funny. If you think that's funny, that's fine. Konosuba has a fan base. Konosuba has a fan base. That's totally fine. But like, I personally am not having a good time. So yeah, I just don't enjoy isekai because it just has a lot of tropes in it that I don't like. I'm sure one day there'll be an isekai. Blanket, I should ban you for saying that. Honestly, you should take a timeout. Actually, you should take a timeout. A real quick timeout. You should take a timeout. You should take a nice little time out. I was trolling, I know. You should still take that time out. You should get your ass out of here. Archer, the cartoon. Archer is not an isekai, the cartoon. You know what show I'd really like? I would really like the 100 Girlfriends That Really, Really, Really Love You. I think that one's my peak, actually. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. No, 10 out of 10. What does Archer have to do with isekai? I like Archer. But like I would not classify Archer as a perverted comedy. Personally, Archer's like a parody that slowly turns into, it's like a parody of like James Bond that slowly turns into its own kind of thing. That's Arrow. Archer actually has like a point to it. Like it starts out as a parody, but like as the show progresses, like the characters are actually like characters. Like they're actually characters. They don't just stay like parody. Like Archer actually develops and changes. I haven't seen the ending of Archer. I actually have not watched it. I like Archer a lot. I think Archer is like top 10. Not top 10. It's top tier in terms of like adult comedy. It's good. I would just never put myself through that. I would just actually never watch 100 Girlfriends. Listen, again, like, I'm not here to yuck other people's yum, right? Like, there are things that I like that other people might not like, so I'm not here to yuck other people's yum. People like isekai, I think that's great. It's just I'm not watching that. People like power fantasies, I'm not watching that. People like harems, where you have 100 girls that are in love with you. I'm not watching that, but like, I'm happy for you. I'm not watching that, but I am happy for you. You got a girl for every single day of the week. That's fantastic. I am not watching that. Your waifu's coming to lifeu, you know, like, it's great. It's fantastic. I love that for you. More cake, exact. It's like beautiful. It's like more for you. How do I feel about Big Mouth? Big Mouth is really bad, which is really sad because I like the premise of Big Mouth. I just think the execution is really bad. I like the premise. I'm not mad at it. Like a comedy based around puberty, because puberty is silly and ridiculous, and I think there should be a TV show out there, but like, it's just, first of all, it's ugly. Like, it's very ugly to look at. Like, objectively, it's ugly. And then I think the comedy falls completely flat, in my personal opinion. Yep, I'm glad. Yeah, people love that show. People love Big Mouth. Big Mouth is your coworker's favorite adult cartoon. Big Mouth is for 9-to-5ers. that think it's absolutely crazy to watch anime. Like, that's who Big Mouth is. That's the demographic. That is the demographic. Which is fine. I'm happy for them. So, I'm happy for them. You know, it's just not for me. Not for thee, but happy for you. I mean, it also has like a spin-off show that's coming out about like the monsters. Happy for them. Happy for Big Mouth fans. Again, not for me. Happy for every Big Mouth fan. Just, I think I'm good. I have never been in a position to be at a water cooler with somebody else. I have also never been in a position to be in a break room with somebody else, because anytime I have worked a job, I have eaten alone because I don't want to talk to you. That's just me. People say that's mean. I am here to do a job, and then I'm here to go home. You know, I clock out when I clock out. I'm really not here to make friends. That's just my personal thing. That's my personal thing. If you make friends at work, that's fantastic. That's great. I'm happy for you. It's just, like, I have never made friends at work. Like, ever. I've never done that. People at work are not my friends. They're my coworkers, and I do not want to see them outside of work. I work with them. I don't want to see them more. That's just my personal opinion about the way I'm living my life. Because, like, there are how many million people in the world, and I have to be friends with my coworker? Absolutely not. There's gotta be somebody else that I can hang out with. Outside of work, I'm good. Yeah, I just have, like, for me, I just have very strict, like, separation between different areas of my life. Like, I don't mix areas of my life. I don't mix areas of my life. That's just not how I work. I've never done that. I've never done that. I don't think I ever will do that. If someone's my coworker, they're not my friend. That's just how that is. Someone is my coworker, then they're not my friend. They're my coworker. They're not my friend. If someone's my friend, they're my friend. Separate. I keep everything nice and separate. My coworkers would never do that because my coworkers they don't watch anime, for one. They know what anime is, but they do not watch anime. My coworkers are normies, so I know that for a fact that none of them are watching. None of them are watching anime. So I don't think any of them would be doing that. And if they asked me, what about the new Daima episode? I don't think any of my coworkers have ever even seen Dragon Ball, to be completely honest. I'm pretty sure they know who Goku is. I think like one of them would know who Goku is, but I don't think any of them have watched Dragon Ball. My coworkers are the type that would watch like The Office, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Like, they're watching like The Office, which is fine, but like, they're not watching anime in their free time. It's not their thing. But if they did, I would answer them, but they still wouldn't be my friend. I hate The Office, so peak to you, I guess. I don't like The Office at all. So peak to you, I guess. Peak to you. My hot takes are that The Office isn't that funny, and I don't really like Breaking Bad. None of my coworkers even know what Dungeon Meshi is. If I said that, I think they would think I'm talking about like D&D or something. They have no idea what that is. A lot of people don't watch anime. I don't know if you know this, but like y'all gotta like walk outside every now and again and like get with the normies, because it's because a lot of people don't watch anime like that, like at all. People are watching like dating reality TV. They are not watching anime and K-dramas and shit. They're not doing that. I mean, like, some people like me, I am doing that, but like people are doing shit like listening to Benson Boone, you know, like people are doing things like going to Benson Boone concerts, you know, seeing him do those flips on stage. That's what people are doing. You know, yeah, I don't like Breaking Bad. I'm happy for everybody else, but it's not for me. Again, happy for you or sorry for your loss. Either one that works in the scenario that applies. I personally don't like Breaking Bad. I don't think it's bad. Like sometimes you could just not like something. Like something can be good and you can just not like it. Like I don't like Breaking Bad. It's not for me. Happy for everybody else, not for me. Yeah, I'm just waiting for that first ad break. Because usually I spend the first hour just chatting. Yeah, like sometimes a show, just like Solo Leveling, to bring it full circle, like, I'm sure Solo Leveling is like perfectly serviceable. Like, the animation's probably great. I said that already. The animation's probably fantastic. You know, there's probably some really interesting fight scenes. I just think it's generic, and I'm not watching all of that at this point in time. So, happy for you or sorry for your loss, depending on whichever one is applicable. It's like, sounds like it's a perfectly fine show that I won't be watching. I will say I did like Better Call Saul though. Going back to Breaking Bad, I liked Better Call Saul. That one was good, except for the ending, but that's my personal opinion. That's my personal opinion. Yeah, so anyway, that's my anime catch up. I'm sure by next stream I will have finished like 2 more anime. I also started watching Andor, and then I promptly put Andor down. I picked it up and sliced bread. Andor is the best thing Star Wars has ever put out. Andor is fantastic. Andor saved the Star Wars franchise. And I was like, damn, you guys are bouncing on it a little bit, okay? You guys are bouncing on it, doing tricks on it, spitting on it, okay? I'll watch it, damn. And then I watched it, and I was like, this is a TV show. This is certainly a television show. It's not like bad, but maybe I gotta just keep watching it. But dog, I'm in like episode 7. The season is 12 episodes. I'm on episode 7. I'm like, each episode is about 46 minutes. I've seen 7 hours. I've seen 7 full hours. I mean, it's fine. But I'm like, are Star Wars fans? Maybe I gotta just watch the whole season and then I'll understand what everybody's talking about. Because I'm just like, are Star Wars fans like that starved for something good? That they think this is peak? I'm so sorry. I haven't watched season 2, so maybe it really is peak, but I'm still on season 1. But it's like, it's just okay, it's fine. Like, it's, I'm watching it, like, I watched 7 hours, and I was like, okay, you know, okay, another one, put on another one. But I'm like, there is no way. I was like, am I missing something? I think Star Wars fans are just, they're starved. They're out there fiending. They're fiending for decent content. That's all they're asking for, is just decent content. And I feel bad. I feel bad for Star Wars fans. As an ex-Star Wars fan. As an ex-Star Wars fan. I feel bad. I'm like, damn. Someone needs to help out this franchise. Someone really needs to do something. Someone needs to do something quickly. That's so sad. I love Star Wars. Star Wars is so good. But then you watch a Star Wars thing and you're like, yikes. You watch a Star Wars thing and you're like, ah. Yikes. Yikers. Anyway, I will at some point finish Andor. There's the ad break. I will at some point finish Andor, and then I'll know what everybody's talking about. I was like, they spent so much money on marketing. I see Andor marketing all over the streets. I see billboards, YouTube ads, Spotify ads for Andor, and it's like, the show is okay. I thought that shit was gonna rip my fucking pants off. It was gonna make me see Star Wars in a brand new way, and it's just okay. It's just fine. Just fine. It's just fine. I felt juked again. I'm getting juked left and right. Every day with me, I'm getting juked. It hurts so bad. I'm getting juked, I tell you. Alright, also the 3-minute ad break is probably active at this point. So if you're hungry, tired, or sleepy, go take care of yourself. I am gonna start reading now that the 1 hour of easing into stream is over. And tonight we are reading Suzanne Collins's first book. Is it her first book? It's her first big series, I know that for sure. Now I gotta look it up. It's her first big theories. Not the website. Not the website. I want the Wikipedia page, please. Thank you. I think Andor is completely fine. I just don't understand why everybody's saying that it's like crazy. It's like insane because it's like not, and maybe I gotta just watch the whole thing and I'll understand it. Because it is like a very slow burn. It's slow, it's like very slow. So maybe I just gotta like finish it out. But I don't know. I don't know if it's worth doing all them tricks that everybody's doing on it right now. But yes, this is I don't know if it's her first book, but it's definitely her first series. Her first major series. No, it's not her first book. She wrote that Mystery Files book, but it's her first like big series. And this book series has 5 books in it. I don't know about all that. I personally don't know about all that. I don't know if I'm gonna read all 5 books, but I will start with this one. I know that much. I will start with this one. This book came out in 2003, so it predates the Hunger Games. Suzanne likes to write about war. That's her thing. She loves war. She's very inspired by the Iraq War, the Iraq and the Vietnam War. And I love reading about it. She was talking about everything that happens in war. So I'm actually very interested to see what this book is all about. People actually don't talk about this book at all. So, and I have no frame of reference because I did not want to get spoiled. I did not want to get spoiled for this one, in any way, shape, or form. I didn't want to get spoiled for it. So I don't have a frame of reference for anything that happens in this book. Even the book doesn't really tell me what's gonna happen in the book. Even the book isn't really telling me what's gonna happen in the book. Let's see. Okay, let's read the back. Let's read that back. Alright. When 11-year-old Gregor follows his little sister through oh my god, it's always the little sister. It's always the little sister. When 11-year-old Gregor follows his little sister through a grate in the laundry room of their New York apartment building, he hurtles into a dark underland beneath the city. There, humans live uneasily beside giant spiders, bats, cockroaches, and rats, but the fragile peace is about to fall apart. Gregor wants no part of a conflict between these creepy creatures. He just wants to find his way home. But when he discovers that a strange prophecy foretells a role for him in the Underland's uncertain future, he realizes it might be the only way to solve the biggest mystery of his life. Little does he know, his quest will change him and the Underland forever. Luminous, supremely absorbing, readers will likely find the Underland to be a fantastically engaging place. An exceptional debut novel, a well-written, fast-moving, action-packed fantasy. 2003 Kirkus Editor's Choice. They love it. The streets love it. They do. Wow. Okay. I'm just gonna get into it. Because I've been waiting on this one. I doubt it's going to. I think the Hunger Games series is her magnum opus. I do not believe Suzanne Collins can ever write anything as good as those 3 books. However, that does not mean she can't be a good writer. It's just those 3 books are like peak to me. I think it's like peak YA dystopia. There will never be another like it. Truthfully, honestly, however, I'm very interested to see where she starts. So, if you've never tuned into a reading stream before, I like to talk bothers you, you're very free to exit stage left. That's totally fine. I like to pause and comment on things as they happen. I like to do chapter reviews, and I also like to do summaries. If that bothers you, go listen to an audiobook. It's not that serious. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I always encourage getting comfy, cozy, and relaxed. And I think that's it. I'm gonna take a break when I need one, so you take a break when you need one. Alright. Okay. I don't know how much I'm gonna read tonight. Mostly because I do want to watch like 2 more episodes of Dragon Ball before bed. So I'm gonna sacrifice stream in order for me to watch 2 more episodes of Dragon Ball before bed. So we'll see how much we can get through tonight. Will she? Gregor the Overlander, Book 1 of the best-selling Underland Chronicles. Suzanne Collins. For my mom and dad. Ooh, this is a long book. Oh boy. Part 1. The Fall. Chapter 1. Gregor had his... Let's start that over. Gregor had pressed his forehead against the screen for so long, he could feel a pattern of tiny checks above his eyebrows. He ran his fingers over the bumps and resisted the impulse to let out a primal caveman scream. It was building up in his chest, that long, guttural howl reserved for real emergencies, like when you ran into a saber-toothed tiger without your club, or your fire went out during the Ice Age. He even went so far as to open his mouth and take a deep breath before he banged his head into the screen with a quiet sound of frustration. What was the point anyway? It wouldn't change one thing. Not the heat, not the boredom, not the endless space of summer laid out before him. He considered waking up Boots, his 2-year-old sister, just for a little distraction, but he let her sleep. At least she was cool in the air-conditioned bedroom she shared with their 7-year-old sister Lizzie and their grandma. It was the only air-conditioned room in the apartment. On hot nights, Gregor and his mother could spread quilts on the floor to sleep, but with 5 in the room, it wasn't cool, just lukewarm. All I'm gonna say is they named her Boots. They named her Boots, like the cat. That's it. Boots is the name of an animal. Boots is a very interesting name for your 2-year-old child. That's it. Gregor got an ice cube from the freezer and rubbed it on his face. He stared out at the courtyard where a stray dog sniffed around an overflowing trash can. The dog set its paws on the rim, tipping the can and sending the garbage across the sidewalk. Gregor got a glimpse of a couple of shadowy shapes scurrying along the wall and grimaced. Rats. He never got used to them. Otherwise, the courtyard was deserted. Usually it was full of kids playing ball, jumping rope, or swinging around the creaky jungle gym. But this morning, the bus had left for camp, and every kid between the ages of 4 and 14 had been on it, except one. I'm sorry, baby. You can't go, his mother had told him a few weeks ago, and she really had been sorry too. He could tell by the look on her face. Someone has to watch Boots while I'm at work, and we both know your grandma can't handle it anymore. She loves writing children that become adultified, and we see it. Of course he knew it. For the last year, his grandma had been slipping in and out of reality. One minute, she was clear as a bell. The next, she was calling him Simon. Who was Simon? He had no idea. It would have been different a few years ago. His mom only worked part-time then, and his dad, who taught high school science, was off summers. He'd have taken care of Boots. But since his dad disappeared one night, Gregor's role in the family had changed. He was the oldest, so he picked up a lot of the slack. Looking after his sisters was a big part of it. So all Gregor had said was, "That's okay, Mom. Camp's for kids anyway." He shrugged to show that, at 11, he was past caring about things like camp, but somehow that had made her look sadder. As it should. He is 11 years old. 11-year-olds should not be taking care of their 2-year-old siblings because they are children. It actually makes me so sad when I think about children taking care of other children because they're babies. It's babies taking care of babies. Have you ever looked at an 11-year-old child? They're so tiny. They're actually very tiny. They're I was about to say children, but yeah, they're just children. They're just so tiny. It's I can't imagine that little thing doing anything besides drinking chocolate milk and playing Fortnite, really. "Do you want Lizzie to stay home with you? Give you some company?" she'd asked. A look of panic had crossed Lizzie's face at this suggestion. She probably would have burst into tears if Gregor hadn't refused the offer. And now, let her go. I'll be fine with Boots. So here he was, not fine, spending the whole summer cooped up with a 2-year-old and his grandma, who thought he was someone named Simon. He heard his grandma call from the bedroom. Gregor shook his head, but he couldn't help smiling a little. "Coming, Grandma," he called back, and crunched down the rest of his ice cube. A golden glow filled the room as the afternoon sunlight tried to force its way through the shades. His grandma lay on the bed, covered by a thin cotton quilt. Every patch on the quilt had come from a dress she had made for herself throughout the years. In her more lucid moments, she'd talk Gregor through the quilt. "This polka dot Swiss, I wore it." Oh, she'd talk him through the quilt. I got it. I was talk to him through the quilt. No, she'd talk about the quilt. I got it. "This polka dot Swiss I wore to my cousin Lucy's graduation when I was 11. This lemon yellow was a Sunday dress, and this white is an actual fact, a corner of my wedding dress. I do not lie." This, however, was not a lucid moment. "Simon," she said, her face showing relief at the sight of him, "I thought you forgot your lunch pail. You'll get hungry plowing." His grandma had been raised on a farm in Virginia and had come to New York when she'd married his grandfather. She had never really taken to it. Sometimes Gregor was secretly glad that she could return to that farm ermined and a little envious. It wasn't any fun sitting around in their apartment all the time. By now, the bus would probably be arriving at camp, and Lizzie and the rest of the kids would, "Kyo," squealed a little voice. A curly head popped over the side of the crib. Me out. Boots stuck the soggy end of a stuffed dog's tail in her mouth and reached up both arms to him. Gregor lifted his sister high in the air and blew a loud raspberry on her stomach. She giggled, and the dog fell to the floor. He set her down to retrieve it. "Take your hat," said Grandma, still somewhere back in Virginia. Gregor took her hand and tried to focus her attention. "You want a cold drink, Grandma? How about a root beer?" She laughed. "A root beer? What is it, my birthday?" "How did you answer something like that?" Gregor gave her hand a squeeze and scooped up Boots. "I'll be right back," he said loudly. Grandma was still laughing to herself. "A root beer," she said, and wiped her eyes. She's like, we can't afford root beer. We cannot afford root beer. Do you know what time it is? In the kitchen, Gregor filled a glass with icy root beer and made Boots a bottle of milk. "Cold," she beamed, pressing it to her face. "Yes, nice and cold, Boots," said Gregor. A knock on the door startled him. The people had been useless for a good 40 years. He called through the door. "Who is it?" "It's Mrs. Cormasi, dear. I told your mother I'd sit with your grandma at 4, a voice called back. Then Gregor remembered the pile of laundry he was supposed to do. At least he'd get out of the apartment. This kid is doing laundry and babysitting. Oh, Suzanne. Can you have a protagonist that's not completely identified? Not laundry. What? He's 11. Laundry. Ma'am. He opened the door to find Mrs. Cormasi looking wilted in the heat. "Hello, you. Isn't it awful? I tell you, I do not suffer heat gladly." She bustled into the apartment, patting her face with an old bandana. "Oh, you dream. Is that for me?" she said, and before he could answer, she was gulping down the root beer like she'd been lost in the desert. "Sure," Gregor mumbled, heading back to the kitchen to fix another. You didn't really mind Mrs. Cormasi, but today it was almost a relief to see her. Great, day 1, and I'm looking forward to a trip to the laundry room, Gregor thought. By September, I'll probably be ecstatic when we get the phone bill. Mrs. Cormasi held out her glass for a refill. "So, when are you gonna let me read your tarot, mister? You know I've got the gift," she said. Mrs. Cormasi posted signs by the mailboxes offering to read tarot cards for people at $10 a shot. "No charge for you," she always told Gregor. He never accepted because he had a sneaking suspicion Mrs. Cormasi would end up asking a lot more questions than he would. Questions he couldn't answer. Questions about his dad. He mumbled something about laundry and hurried off to collect it. Knowing Mrs. Cormasi, she probably had a deck of tarot cards right in her pocket. Down in the laundry room, Gregor sorted through clothes as best as he could. Whites, darks, colors. What was he supposed to do with Boots' black and white striped shorts? He tossed them in the darks, feeling sure it was the wrong decision. Most of their clothes were kind of grayish anyway, from age, not bad laundry choices. All of Gregor's shorts were just his winter pants cut off at the knees, and he only had a few t-shirts that fit from last year. But what did it matter if he was going to be locked in the apartment all summer? Ball Boots in distress. Ball. Gregor reached his arm between the dryers and pulled out an old tennis ball Boots has been chasing around. He picked off the dryer lint and tossed it across the room. Boots ran after it like a puppy, not her being a dog. What a mess, thought Gregor, laughing a little. What a sticky, crusty, dusty mess. The remains of her lunch, egg salad and chocolate pudding, were still evident on Boots's face and shirt. She had colored her hands purple, with washable markers that Gregor thought maybe a sandblaster could remove. And her diaper. And thanks much for the follow. I hope you're having a good day, good night, wherever you are. I'm gonna add a little heart in here under. Right about now. She had colored her hands purple with washable markers that Gregor thought maybe a sandblaster could remove, and her diaper sagged down around her knees. It was just too hot to put her into shorts. Boots ran back to him with the ball, dryer lint floating in her curls. Her sweaty face beamed as she held out the ball. "What makes you so happy, Boots?" he asked. "Ball," she said. "Ball is life." And then banged her head into his knee on purpose to speed him up. Gregor tossed the ball down the alley between the washers and the dryers. Boots flew after it. As the game continued, Gregor tried to remember the last time he'd felt as happy as Boots did with her ball. He had had some decent times over the past couple of years. The city middle school band I got to play at Carnegie Hall. That was pretty cool. He'd even had a short solo on his saxophone. Things were always better when he played music. The notes seemed to carry him to a different world altogether. Running track was good too, pushing his body on and on until everything had been drummed out of his mind. But if he was honest with himself, Gregor knew it had been years since he'd felt real happiness. Exactly 2 years, 7 months, and 13 days, he thought. He didn't try to count, but the numbers automatically tallied up in his head. He had some inner calculator that always knew exactly how long his dad had been gone. We love child depression, yes. Thank you, Suzanne. Boots could be happy. She wasn't even born when it happened. Lizzie was only 4, but Gregor had been 8 and had missed nothing, like the frantic calls to the police who acted almost bored with the fact that his dad had vanished into thin air. Clearly, they thought he'd run off. They'd even implied it was another woman. But that just wasn't true. If there was anything Gregor knew, it was that his father loved his mother, and he loved him and Lizzie, that he would have loved Boots. But then, how could he have left them without a word? That redeem, I don't know if you were trying to like catch me off guard, but that redeem does not make me bark anymore. I don't know if you know that. I don't know if you know that. It's just for the ears. It's just for the ears. So, I don't know if you were trying to be cute just now. Try and catch me, make me bark in a serious moment, but that doesn't do it anymore. noise just for the ears. Also crazy, like, police said your dad is a deadbeat at 8 years old, alright? Can you do your job and find my father, or what? The police are never good in any of these books. I don't think we've read a single book so far where the police actually do their job and have never done their job. Gregor couldn't believe his dad would abandon the family and never look back. Accept it, he whispered to himself. He's dead. A wave of pain swept through him. It wasn't true. It couldn't be true. His dad was coming back because what? Because he wanted it so badly, it must be true. Because they needed him. No, thought Gregor. It's because I can feel it. I know he's coming back. The washer spun to a stop, and Gregor piled the clothes into a couple of dryers. And when he gets back, he'd better have a really good explanation for where he's been, muttered Gregor as he slammed the dryer door shut. Like he got bumped on the head and forgot who he was, or he was kidnapped by aliens. Lots of people get kidnapped by aliens on TV. Maybe it could happen. He thought about different possibilities a lot in his head, but they rarely mentioned his dad at home. There was an unspoken agreement that his dad would return. All the neighbors thought he'd just taken off. The adults never mentioned it, and neither did most of the kids. About half of them only lived with one parent anyway. Strangers sometimes asked, though. After about a year of trying to explain it, Gregor came up with a story that his parents were divorced and that his dad lived in California. It was a lie, but people believed it, while no one seemed to believe the truth, whatever that was. And after he gets home, I can take him, Gregor said aloud and then stopped himself. He was about to break the rule. The rule was that he couldn't think about things that would happen after his dad got back. And since his dad could be back at any moment, Gregor didn't allow himself to think about the future at all. He had this weird feeling that if he imagined actual events, like having his dad back next Christmas or his dad helping to coach track team, they would never happen. Besides, as happy as some daydream would make him, it only made him returning to reality more painful. So that was the rule. Gregor had to keep his mind in the present and leave the future to itself. He realized that his system wasn't great, but it was the best way he'd figured out to get through the day. Gregor noticed that Boots had been suspiciously quiet. He looked around and felt alarmed when he couldn't spot her right away. Then he saw a scuffed pink sandal poking out from the last dryer. Boots, get out of there, said Gregor. You had to watch her around electrical stuff. She loved plugs. As he hurried across the laundry room, Gregor heard a metallic clunk, and then a giggle from Boots. Great, now she's dismantling the dryer, thought Gregor, picking up speed. As he reached the far wall, a strange scene confronted him. The metal grate to an old air duct was wide open, secured by two rusty hinges at the top. Boots was squinting into the opening, about 2 feet by 2 feet, which led into the wall of a building. From where he stood, could see nothing but blackness. Then a wisp of... what was it? Steam? Smoke? It didn't really look like either. Some strange vapor drifted out of the hole and curled around Boots. She held out her arms curiously and leaned forward. "No!" yelled Gregor as he lunged for her, but Boots's tiny frame seemed to be sucked into the air duct. Without thinking, Gregor thrust his head and shoulders into the hole. The metal grate smacked into his back, and the next thing he knew, he was falling down, 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 into empty space. Chapter 2. I'll talk about those two chapters in conjunction. Gregor twisted around in the air, trying to position himself so he wouldn't land on Boots when they hit the basement floor, but no impact came. Then he remembered the laundry room was in the basement. So, what exactly had they fallen into? The wisps of vapor had thickened into a dense mist that generated a pale light. Gregor could only see a few feet in any direction. His fingers clawed desperately through the white stuff, looking for a handhold, but came up empty. He was plummeting downward so fast, his clothes ballooned around him. "Boots!" he hollered, and the sound bounced eerily back to him. There must be sides to this thing, he thought. He called again, "Boots!" A bright giggle came from somewhere below him. "Gigo wee," said Boots. "She thinks she's on a big slide or something," thought Gregor. "At least she's not scared." He felt scared enough for both of them. Whatever strange hole they had slipped into, it must have a bottom. There was only one way this spinning through space could end. Time was passing. Gregor couldn't tell exactly how much, but too much to make sense. Surely there was a limit to how deep a hole could be. At some point, you'd have to run into water, or rock, or the Earth's platelets, or something. It was all like this horrible dream he had sometimes. He'd be high up, somewhere he wasn't supposed to be, usually like the roof of his school. As he walked along the edge, the solid matter under his feet would suddenly give way, and down he'd go. Everything would disappear but the sensation of falling, of the ground closing in on him, of terror. Then, just at the moment of impact, he'd jerk awake, soaked in sweat, heart pounding. I have not had that dream, but I have had like body jolts, where like sometimes it does feel like you're falling and your body will like jolt out of it. And it is like the worst sensation ever. I don't know why your body does that, but I would like for it to stop. It's actually like very horrific, and I hate that feeling. A dream. I fell asleep in the laundry room, and this is the same old crazy dream, thought Gregor, of course. What else could it be? Calmed by the notion that he was still asleep, Gregor began to gauge his fall. He didn't own a wristwatch, but anybody could count seconds. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. At 70 Mississippi, He gave up and began to feel panicky again. Even in a dream, you had to land, didn't you? Just then, Gregor noticed the mist beginning to clear a little. He could make out the smooth, dark edges of a circular wall. He seemed to be falling down a large, dark tube. He felt an updraft rising from below him. The last wisps of vapor blew away and Gregor lost speed. His clothes gently settled back on his body. Below him, he heard a small thump, and then the patter of boots' sandals. A few moments later, his own feet made contact with solid ground. He tried to get his bearings, not daring to move. Total darkness surrounded him. As his eyes adjusted, he became aware of a faint shaft of light off to his left. A happy squeak came from behind it. Bug. Big bug. Gregor ran toward the light. It leaked through a narrow crevice between two smooth walls of rock. He barely managed to squeeze himself through the opening. His sneaker caught on something, causing him to lose his balance. He tripped out from between the rock walls and landed on his hands and knees. When he raised his head, Gregor found himself looking into the face of the largest cockroach he'd ever seen. Now, his apartment complex had some big bugs. Mrs. Gormachi claimed a water bug the size of her hand had climbed out of her bathtub drain, and nobody doubted her. But the creature in front of Gregor rose at least 4 feet in the air. Granted, it was sitting up on its back legs, a very unnatural-looking position for a cockroach, but still. A big bug, cried Boots again, and Gregor managed to close his mouth. He pushed back onto his knees, but he still had to tilt his head back to see the roach. It was holding some kind of torch. Boots scampered over to Gregor and tugged on the back of his shirt. Big bug, she insisted. Yes, I see, Boots. Big bug, said Gregor in a hushed voice, wrapping his arms tightly around her. Very big bug. He tried hard to remember what cockroaches ate. Garbage, rotten food, people. He didn't think they ate people, not the little ones anyway. Maybe they wanted to eat people, but they kept getting stepped on first. At any rate, this wasn't a good time to find out. Trying to appear casual, Gregor. Hey, what's up? Trying to appear casual. If I was the protagonist, I would have already been done because I don't do bugs. So I would have already been tapped out. And trying to appear casual, Gregor slowly edged his way back toward the crack in the rocks. Okay, Mr. Roach, so we'll just be going. Sorry we bugged you. I mean, bothered you. I mean, smells what so good? Smells what? A voice hissed. And it took Gregor a full minute to realize it had come from the cockroach. He was too stunned. He was too stunned to speak. He was too stunned to make any sense of the strange words. Excuse me, he managed. Smells what? So good. Smells what? The voice cyst again. But the tone wasn't threatening, just curious, and maybe a little excited. Be small human, be. Alright, okay. I'm talking to a giant cockroach, thought Gregor. Be cool, be nice, answer the bug, he wants to know. Smells. What? So good. Smells. What? So. Tell him. Hi. I'm not doing art tonight. It's not art stream tonight. Oh my god, I'm already sleepy. See? It's ASMR night. Tonight, Les. Gregor forced himself to take a deep sniff and regretted it. Only one thing smelled like that. I poop, said Boots, as if on cue. My sister needs a clean diaper, said Gregor, somehow feeling embarrassed. The roach, if he could read it right, acted impressed. Not her. I read a little bit ahead. I read a little bit ahead. I was about to say, what is going on here? What's going on here? Closer. Can we closer come? Said the roach delicately, sweeping the space in front of it with a leg. We, said Gregor, and then he saw the other forms rising out of the dark around them. The smooth black bumps he'd taken for rocks were actually the bags, that's disgusting, the bags of the bags of another dozen or so enormous cockroaches. This book is disgusting. I would have passed out. Immediately. Giant roaches, 4-foot roaches. I would have passed out immediately. I have never fainted in my life, but there's a first time for everything, and I would have passed out immediately. A dozen 4 feet, I can't even conceptualize it. The thoughts terrifies me. The thought is filling me with anxiety. They clustered around Boots eagerly, waving their antennas in the air and shuddering in delay. Thank you for the pet. Dying. Boots, who loved any kind of compliment, instinctively knew she was being admired. She stretched out her chubby arms to the giant insects. They gave her an appreciative hiss. Be she princess, Overlander, be she queen, be she, asked the leader, dipping its head in salat. Oh my god, this word is gonna take me out. Slavish, there we go, I need a moment. Slavish devotion. Slavish devotion. Yeah, I knew it was gonna take me out. My god. Boots, a queen. If that's the future of roaches, then I don't want to be here, to be completely honest. If the roaches ever start growing to be like 4 foot tall, you can just take me out back like Lassie. I don't want to be here. You can take me out back. I welcome it. I welcome the end with open arms. I don't want to be here with the roaches. Thank you. things take over, you can take me out. I actually don't need to live in that existence. Thank you. It's not worth living. Actually, I'm good. Perfectly fine. Boots, a queen, asked Gregor. Suddenly he had to laugh. The sound seemed to rattle the roaches, and they withdrew stiffly. Laugh why, Overlander, laugh why, one hissed, and Gregor realized he had offended them. Because we're like poor. We're poor, and she's kind of a mess, and are you calling me Overlander? He wound up lamely. Be you not Overlander, human, be you, no Underlander you, said the torch-bearing roach, peering closely at him. You look much like, but smell not like. Something seemed to dawn on the leader. Rat bad. It turned to its comrades. Leave we Overlanders here, leave we. The roaches drew closely together in consultation, and all began to talk at once. Gregor got snippets of their conversation, but nothing that made sense. They were so immersed in their debate that he thought about trying to escape again. He looked at his surroundings. In the dim torchlight, they appeared to be in a long, flat tunnel. We need to go back up, thought Gregor, not sideways. He could never scale the walls of the hole they had fallen down with Boots in his arms. The roaches came to a decision. You come, Overlanders, take to humans, said the leader. Humans, said Gregor, feeling relieved. There are other humans down here. Ride you, run you, asked the roach, and Gregor understood it was offering him a lift. It didn't look sturdy enough to carry him, but he knew some insects, like ants, could carry many times their weight. He had a sickening image of trying to sit on the roach and crushing it. I think I'll walk. I mean, run, said Gregor. Ride the princess, ride she, said the roach hopefully, waving its antennas, integrating. That makes me sick to my stomach. This book is already making me sick. The idea of taking a roach, of sitting on top of a roach, makes me sick to my stomach. I'm gonna dream about roaches tonight, sick to my stomach. And flattening itself on its stomach before Boots. Gregor would have said no, but the toddler climbed right up on the roach's back. He should have known. She loved to sit on the giant metal turtles at the Central Park Zoo. Okay, but she has to hold my hand, said Gregor, and Boots obediently latched onto his finger. The roach took off immediately, and Gregor found himself jogging to keep up with it. He knew roaches could move fast. He'd watched his mother swat enough of them. Apparently, these giant roaches had maintained their speed with their size. That's disgusting. That is disgusting. Wesley, I should ban you for that one. That's disgusting. Apparently, that's absolutely disgusting. Fortunately, the floor of the tunnel was even, and Gregor had only finished up track a few weeks ago. He adjusted his pace to match the roaches, and soon found a comfortable rhythm. The tunnel began to twist and turn. The roaches veered into side passages and even double back to choose a new route sometimes. In minutes, Gregor was hopelessly lost. The mental picture of their path that he had been making in his head resembled one of Boots's squiggly drawings. He gave up trying to remember directions and concentrated on keeping up with the insects. Man, he thought, these bugs can really move. Gregor began to pant, but the roaches didn't show any signs of exertion. He had no idea how far they were going. Their destination could be 100 miles away. Who knew how far these things could run? Just as he was about to tell them that he needed rest, Gregor heard a familiar roar. At first, he thought he was mistaken, but as they drew closer, he felt sure. It was a crowd, and judging by the sound of it, a big one. But where could you fit a crowd in these tunnels? The floor began to slope sharply, and Gregor found himself backpedaling to avoid stepping on the roach leader. Something soft and feathery brushed against his face. Fabric, wings. He passed through the stuff, and the unexpected light nearly blinded him. His hand instinctively covered his eyes as they tried to adjust. A gasp went up from the crowd. He'd been right about that part. Then it got unnaturally quiet, and he had a sense that a great number of people were looking at him. Gregor began to make out his surroundings. It wasn't really that bright. In fact, it seemed like evening. But he had been in darkness so long, he couldn't tell. The first thing he made out was the ground, which appeared to be covered in a dusky green moss, except it wasn't uneven, but smooth as pavement. He could feel its springiness under his feet. It's a field, he thought, for some kind of game. That's why there's a crowd. I'm in a stadium. Slowly, it came into focus. A polished wall enclosed a large oval cavern about 50 feet high. The top of the oval was ringed with bleachers. Gregor's eyes traveled up the distant rows of people as he tried to find the ceiling. Instead, he found the athletes. A dozen bats were slowly spiraling around the top of the arena. They ranged in color from light yellow to black. Gregor guessed the smallest one had a wingspan of about 15 feet. The crowd must have been watching them when he stumbled in, because the rest of the field area was empty. Maybe it's like Rome. They feed people to the bats. Maybe that's why the roaches brought us here, he thought. Something fell from one of the bats. It hit the ground in the middle of the stadium and bounced 50 feet into the air. He thought, oh, it's just a ball, cried Boots, and before he could stop her, she had slid off the roach and wiggled through the other bugs and started to run across the mossy ground with her little flat-footed stride. Most graceful, the princess hissed a roach dreamily as Gregor headed after her. The insects had shifted easily to let Boots by, but they were an obstacle course for him. Either they were intentionally trying to slow him down, or they were so taken with Boots' beauty that they had forgotten about him entirely. She is 2 years old. The ball is I know they're roaches, but I'm like these roaches can they get the fuck out of the way and go protect the toddler? The ball hit the ground a second time and bounced back in the air. Boots ran after it, reaching her arms high above her head to follow its path. See, this is why you can't have children up part of your dystopian novel because children, they're gonna get in the way. They're gonna get in the way. But what about the other children in the Hunger Games? We're not talking about that. Technically, they got those children out of the way too, in a way. Technically. Those children were taken out. In a way. In a way. In a way. Thanks so much for the follow. Thank you. Hope you're having a good day, good night, wherever you are. Gonna add a little heart in your under. You can't be bringing children along on your adventure. They're just gonna ruin everything. As Gregor broke free from the roaches and ran for his sister, a shadow passed over him. He looked up and to his horror saw a golden bat diving straight down at Boots. He'd never reach her in time. "Boots!" he screamed, feeling his stomach contract. She turned to him and saw the bat for the first time. Her face lit up like a Christmas tree. "Bat!" she shouted, pointing at the monstrous animal above her. "Jeez," thought Gregor. "Doesn't anything scare her?" The bat swooped over Boots, lightly brushing her finger with its belly, fur, and then soared back into the air in a loop. At the top of the arc, while the bat was flat on its back, Gregor noticed for the first time that someone was sitting on it. The rider had its legs wrapped around the bat's neck. He realized it was a girl. The upside-down girl released her legs and dropped off the bat's back. She executed a perfect double backflip, twisting around at the last moment to face Gregor's direction, and landed on the ground as lightly as a cat in front of Boots. One hand went out, and the ball fell into it. In what was either a feat of remarkable timing or incredible luck. Gregor looked at the girl's face and could tell by her arrogant expression there had been no luck involved at all. Also, we're taking a 3-minute ad break, so if you're hungry, tired, and or sleepy, now is the time to take care of yourself. Also, we are now in chapter 3. I don't have anything to say about that except for the fact that about chapter 1 and chapter 2, except this book is giving me very much graveyard book energy. Like that entire chapter felt like it could have been a chapter in the graveyard book. I was like, this was very graveyard book coded. Like, nobody would definitely have had an adventure like this. And then you would have learned some fucking lesson about about how you're actually not supposed to like interact with roaches for whatever reason. Something something circle of life, something something circle of life is giving the graveyard book. But we'll see. I'm gonna fix how I'm sitting. That is the second ad break. Actually, I have to keep track of time because if I go super long, I'm gonna not have time for me to watch Dragon Ball before bed. So I want my Dragon Ball time. Let me see. That's the second ad break, right? Yes. That means one more ad break, one more hour, and then pause. And pause for the book club this time. Yeah. Chapter 3. Hands down, she was the strangest looking person Gregor had ever seen. Her skin was so pale, you could see every vein in her body. He thought of the section on human anatomy in his science book. Flip one page, see the bones, next the digestive system. This girl was a walking circulatory system. was gray like his grandma's. But that wasn't right. It was really more of a silver color, like a blonde hair with a metallic tint. The hair was woven in an intricate braid down her back and was tucked into her belt at her waist. A thin band of gold encircled the girl's head. It could have been some kind of hairband, but Gregor had a bad feeling it was a crown. He didn't want this girl to be in charge. He could tell by the upright way she held herself, by the slight smile at the corner of her mouth, by the way she managed to be looking down at him, even though he was a good 6 inches taller than she was, that she had a real attitude. That's what his mom would say about certain girls, he knew. She's got a real attitude. She would shake her head, but Gregor could tell she approved of these girls. Well, there was having an attitude, and there was just being a total show-off. Gregor was sure she'd done that fancy trick off the bat completely for his benefit. One flip would have been plenty. Gregor's kind of funny. A little funny, he's a little funny. He's like, why the fuck did she flip that many times? Because actually, that's exactly what I thought. I think that's actually very funny because I was thinking that as I was reading. I just didn't say it because I was like, okay. I was like, I don't know why she wrote that, but like, in the previous chapter, it says she executed a perfect double backflip, twisting around at the last moment to face Gregor's direction, and it's like, did she have to do all that? A double backflip, like. So that's actually very funny because I was thinking the exact same thing. Me and Gregor are energetically aligned. It was her way to intimidate him, but he wouldn't be intimidated. Gregor looked straight into the girl's eyes and saw that her irises were a dazzling shade of light purple. He held his ground. Gregor didn't know how long they might have stood there sizing each other up if Boots hadn't intervened. She plowed into the girl, knocking her off balance. The girl staggered back a step and looked at Boots in disbelief. Boots grinned winningly and held up a pudgy hand. Ball, she said hopefully. The girl knelt on one knee and held out the ball to Boots, but she kept her fingers wrapped tightly around it. It's yours, if you can take it, she said in a voice like her eyes, cold and clear and foreign. Boots tried to take the ball, but the girl didn't release it. Confused, she pulled on the girl's fingers. Ball. The girl shook her head. You will have to be stronger or smarter than I am. Boots looked up at the girl, registered something, and poked her right in the eye. Purple, she said. The girl jerked back, dropping the ball. Boots scrambled after it and scooped it up. Gregor couldn't resist. I guess she's smarter, he said. It was a little mean, but he didn't like her messing with Boots that way. The girl narrowed her eyes. But not you. Or you would not say such things to a queen. So, he had been right. She was royalty. And now she'd probably chop off his head or something. Still, he felt it would be bad if he acted scared. Gregor shrugged. No. If I had have known you were a queen, I'd have probably actually said something cooler. Cooler, she said, raising her eyebrows. Better, said Gregor, for lack of a cooler word. The girl decided to take this as an apology. I will forgive it, as you were not knowing. What are you called, Overlander? My name's Gregor, and that's Boots, he said, pointing to his sister. That's Boots. That over there is Boots. That right there, that's Boots. Something about that is funny. Not this is Boots, not that's my sister Boots. That's Boots right there. Oh yeah, my name is Gregor, but that's Boots. That thing over there, that's Boots. Well, her name's not really Boots, it's Margaret, but we call her Boots because in the winter she steals everybody's boots and runs around in them because this musician my dad likes. What? I was thinking about that. I was like, there's no way they named this child Boots. That sounded confusing, even to Gregor. What's your name? I am Queen Luxa, said the girl. Luxa, said Gregor, trying to get the odd inflection right. What means this? What the baby says, purple, she asked. Purple, it's her favorite color. And your eyes. She's never seen purple eyes before, explained Gregor. Boots heard the word and came over, holding up her palms, which were still dyed purple from the marker. Purple. I've never seen brown before, not on a human, said Luxa, staring into Boots's eyes. Or this. She caught Boots's wrist and ran her fingers over the silky light brown skin. It must need much light. Boots giggled. Every inch of her was ticklish. Luxa purposely ran her fingers up under Boots's chin, making her laugh. For a second, Luxa lost her attitude. And Gregor thought she might not be so bad. Then she straightened up and resumed her haughty manner. Also, I have to just say, she said, I've never seen brown skin like this before. There are no brown people down here. Wow. I have to point it out. There are no brown people down here. She looked at the baby and she was like, I've never seen brown skin like that. And she must need some, so she must be missing some vitamins. I don't know. Also, I just thought it was so funny, especially because I clocked that immediately because people were talking about the Hunger Games and they were like, Suzanne Collins refers to her as olive-skinned, like Katniss Everdeen is referred to as olive-skinned, and people are like, isn't she supposed to be Italian? Isn't she supposed to be Italian? And I'm like, have you guys ever seen an olive-skinned person, like a Native American? Like, I'm like, people, like some people are like, I was like blocked. When I saw that tweet, I was like blocked. I was like, oh, so you're incapable of thinking about other people except for white people. Like, that's ridiculous to me personally. They're like, yeah, olive-skinned Italian. I'm like, when they say olive skin, they mean like a deeper skin tone. I'm like, am I nuts here? Like a deeper skin tone? Certainly not white. I've never associated olive skin with white. That's crazy. You need to interpret that within yourself. It's got color in it, it's a little flavor in that. I was like, what? I was like, what? Nuts. Anyway, Luxa has never seen a brown person, so we know that Gregor and Boots, they're gonna stand out. They're the first two brown people to step foot in the underworld. They're gonna stand out. It's gonna be hard for them, I can already tell. Yeah, because they have brown eyes. They didn't mention their skin tone until right now, so honestly, I thought Gregor was a little light, but now we know, light brown skin, I see you, Gregor, I see you. I see you, Boots. I see you, Gregor. I understand it now. I understand it now. You're gonna experience some racism, I can already tell. I can already tell. That's actually very funny. I hate to compare it to the Hunger Games again, but it actually does remind me of the Hunger Games again, because since Katniss has olive skin tone, throughout the book it's constantly mentioned how she looks so different from everyone else in her family, because her family, like her mom and her sister, look like white. Like blonde hair, blue eyes, like white. Whereas she looks like she's not a part of the family because she has like olive skin and dark gray eyes. And she gets like discriminated against because of it, because she doesn't look as white as them. Well, they call it something else, like she doesn't look like she's from like a good district, because obviously the good districts, she doesn't look like she's from a good part of her district. So I'm expecting her to do something with that. Clock it, pin it, put a little pin there. Then she resumed her haughty manner. So, Gregor the Overlander, you and the baby must bathe crazy. Crazy. Gregor knew he was sweaty from running through the tunnels, but that was pretty rude. Maybe we should just go. Go where? Asked Luxa in surprise. Home, he said. Smelling like you do, said Luxa. You'll be thrice dead before you reach the waterway, even if you knew the path to take. She could see he didn't understand. You smell of the overland. That is not safe for you here, or for us. Oh, said Gregor, feeling foolish. I guess we should rinse off before we go home then. It is not so simple, but I will let Viscus explain, said Luxa. You have had rare luck today, being found so quickly. How do you know we were found quickly? Asked Gregor. Our lookouts noted you shortly after you landed. As you were the crawler's find, we let them present you. She said. I see, said Gregor. Where had the lookouts been? Concealed in the gloom of the tunnels, hidden somewhere in the mist he'd fallen through. Until the stadium, he hadn't seen anyone but the roaches. These were headed here in any case, she said, gesturing to the roaches. See, they carry torches. They would not bother if they were not visiting us. Why's that? Said Gregor. Crawlers do not need light, but they show themselves to us to let us know they come peacefully. Did you not wonder at how easily you arrived here? She asked. Without waiting for an answer, she turned to the group of cockroaches who had been standing patiently off to the side. Crawlers, what take you for the Overlanders? The head roach scurried forward. Give you, 5 baskets. Give you. Yes. We will give 3 grain baskets, said Luxa. Rats give many fish. said the Rush. Am I being bought? Are you guys trading for me? Oh my god. Gregor, you gotta get out of here. Gregor, you have got to get out of here. They're buying you, Gregor. Rats give many fish, said the roach, cleaning its antennas casually. Take him to the rats then. It will give you no time, said Luxa. Gregor didn't know exactly what they were talking about, but he had an uneasy sense that he was for sale. The insect considered Luxa's last offer. Give you 4 baskets. Give you, it said. We will give 4 baskets and 1 for thanks, said a voice behind Gregor. He turned and saw a pale, bearded man approaching them on foot. His close-cropped hair really was silver, not just silvery blonde. Luxa glared at the old man, but didn't contradict him. The cockroach painstakingly added up 4 and 1 on its legs. Why, give you 5 baskets, give you, it asked, as if the whole idea was a new one. We will give 5 baskets, said Luxa, less than graciously, giving the roach a terse bow. It bowed back and scampered off with the other bugs out of the stadium. And if it's up to Viscus, soon we will have no baskets to give, the girl said pointedly to the bearded man, who had turned its focus to Gregor and Boots. 1 more basket will be a small price to pay, if he is expected, he answered. His violet eyes stared intently at Gregor. Tell me, Overlander, are you from? He searched for the words. New York City. I don't know why that line made me fucking laugh. Hey brother, are you from the Bronx? Hey brother, where you from? Where you from? Check it. Hey brother, I'm gonna need to know where you're from. Just give me a state. What if he was from Missouri? One of these days, I'm gonna have to read a protagonist that's like from like Denver. Everybody's in New York City. Everybody's in New York. Like, why are you checking me right now, bro? I said I wanted to go home. Everybody's from New York. Nobody came from Florida. Nobody landed from West Palm. Nobody came from Houston. Everybody's from New York. Okay. Anyway, chapter 4. Chapter 4. Also, I'm not even gonna talk about that. You just bought me for 5 baskets. Also, you combined, me and my sister were worth combined. Me and the baby were worth 5 baskets. We're worth 5 baskets. That's crazy. You can't even tack on 2 more with the baby. Maybe they're really good baskets. They were gonna give us to the rats for some fish. That's crazy. I knew those goddamn roaches were not doing it out of altruism. They were not saving us out of the goodness of their hearts. So they want 5 baskets of grain. Crazy. Chapter 4. It was as if somebody had splashed water in Gregor's face and brought reality rushing back. Ever since he'd fallen through the hole in the wall, things had been happening so fast. It was all he could do to keep up with them. And now, in this momentary calm, the words New York City came as a shock. Yes, he was a kid who lived in New York City and had to do the laundry and get back upstairs with his little sister before his mother. I have to get home now, Gregor blurted out. His mom worked as a receptionist at a dentist's office. She usually got off right at 5 and was home by 5:30. She'd be worried sick if she came and found that he and Boots had disappeared, especially after what had happened to his dad. He tried to figure out how much time had passed since he was in the laundry room. We probably fell for, let's say, 5 minutes, and then we must have run for about 20 with the roaches, and we've been here maybe 10, he thought. 35 minutes. Okay, so the clothes should be about dry, he said aloud. If we get back up there in the next 20 minutes, it should be okay. No one would think to look for them before that, and he could just take the laundry up and fold it in the apartment. I feel like this is a Stephen, we have to kill those people moment. Gregor, I hate to break this to you. You're not going home, brother. I hate to do this to you, little man. I know you're 11 years old, but you're not going home to New York City anytime soon, sir. He was falling for like 25 minutes. I don't know what the hell he was talking about. That guy was falling for a full page of the book. Talking about some, oh yeah, I'll just get back up there in 20 minutes. Okay. Okay. Really? I need to go back up right now, he said to Viscus. I'm understanding now his name is Vicus. Vicus. I'm understanding it now. The old man was still examining him closely. It is simple to fall down, but the going up requires much giving. What do you mean? Asked Gregor, his throat tightening. He means you cannot go home, said Luxa flatly. You must stay with us in the Underland. No thank you. Said Gregor, I mean, you're all great, but I have got stuff to do upstairs, he said. Thanks again. Nice meeting you. Come on, Boots. Gregor scooped up his sister and headed toward the arched opening the roaches had left by. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Luxa raise her hand. For a moment, he thought she was waving goodbye, but that couldn't be right. Luxa wasn't friendly enough to wave. If it's not a wave, then it's a signal, he muttered to Boots, and then he bolted for the doorway. He might have made it if he hadn't been all in boots, but he couldn't really run with her in his arms. 10 yards from the exit, the first bat swept in front of him, knocking him flat on his back on the ground. His body cushioned Boots's fall, and she immediately sat up on his stomach to enjoy the show. I mean, they did just buy him for 5 baskets. They were not about to let that man go. Like, I did just buy you for 5 baskets. arena had dived for them. They flew in a tight circle around Gregor and Boots, locking them in a prison of wings and fur. Each one had a rider as pale and as silver-haired as Luxa. Despite the close proximity and the speed of the bats, none of the people had any trouble staying mounted. In fact, only a few bothered to hold on at all. One cocky-looking guy on a glossy black bat actually lay in a reclining position, propping up his head with one hand. The riders couldn't take their eyes off the captives. As they flashed by, Gregor could see their expressions ranged from amusement to outright hostility. Boots bounced on his stomach and clapped her tiny hands. Bats, 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 bats. Well, at least one of us is enjoying this, thought Gregor. Boots loved bats. At the zoo, she'd stand in front of the large plate glass window of the bat habitat forever if you'd let her, in their small, dark display. Hundreds of bats managed to flit around continuously without knocking into one another. They could do that because of something called echolocation. Bats would emit a sound that would echo off something solid, and they'd be able to tell where it was located. Gregor had read on the card about echolocations maybe 1 billion times, waiting for Boots to get tired of the bats. He felt like something of an expert on the subject. I'm something of an expert on bats. I'm something of a scientist myself. I'm something of an expert myself. Gregor, an expert, okay. I'm something of a scientist. I cannot live it rent-free in my brain, that one. Bats, 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 chanted Boots, using his stomach for a trampoline. Feeling queasy, Gregor pushed himself up on his elbows and scooted her onto the ground. The last thing he needed was to throw up in front of these people. He got to his feet. Boots tucked her arm around his knee and leaned against him. The circle of bats shrunk in even closer. What? Like I'm going somewhere, said Gregor with aggravation. He heard a couple of the riders laugh. Luxa must have given another signal because the bats peeled off one at a time and began wheeling around the arena in complicated patterns. Gregor saw that neither she nor Vicus had bothered to move from where he had left them. He looked at the doorway and knew it was pointless. Still, these people were a little too smug for their own good. Gregor sprinted 3 steps for the exit before he whipped around and headed back to Luxa, catching his sister's hand on the way. Taken by surprise, the bats broke out of their formation and zoomed down, only to find themselves with no one to capture. They pulled up in an awkward clump, and while they didn't actually collide, Gregor felt gratified to see several riders struggling to stay on their bats. The crowd, which had been amazingly quiet since their appearance, broke out in appreciative laughter. Gregor felt a little more confident. At least he wasn't the only one who looked like an idiot. Fake them out, he said to Boots. Lux's gaze was icy, but Gregor saw Vicus trying to suppress a smile as he walked up. So you said something about a bath, he said to Luxa. You Luxa crossly. She flicked her hand, and her golden bat swept down beside her. Just as it was about to crash into her, Luxa leaped into the air. She lifted her legs straight out onto the sides and touched her toes in a move Gregor thought he'd maybe seen cheerleaders do. The bat ducked under her, and she landed on its back easily. It arched up, missing Gregor by inches. Then it righted itself in the air and sped out of the stadium. "You're wasting your time with that stuff," called Gregor, although Luxa was out of earshot. He felt angry with himself, because in fact, he had to admit, this girl had some moves. Vicus heard him though. His smile broadened. Gregor scowled at the old man. "What? Will you follow to the palace, Overlander?" asked Vicus politely. "As what, your prisoner?" asked Gregor bluntly. "As our guest, I hope," replied Vicus, although Queen Luxa has no doubt ordered the dungeon readied for you. His violet eyes literally twinkled, and Gregor found himself liking this man in spite of himself. Maybe because he was pretty sure Vicus liked him. He resisted the temptation to smile. "Lead the way," said Gregor indifferently. Vicus nodded and waved him toward the far side of the arena. Gregor followed a few steps behind him, towing boots. The stands were beginning to empty. High in the air, the people filed out through the exits between the bleachers. Several bats still wove around the stadium, doing aerodynamic maneuvers. Whatever game had been in progress had ended when Gregor arrived. The remaining bats and riders were just hanging around to keep an eye on him. As they neared the main entrance of the stadium, Vicus dropped back and fell in step with Gregor. "You must feel as if you were trapped in a dream, Overlander." "I was thinking a nightmare," said Gregor evenly. Vicus chuckled. "Our bats and crawlers know. What is it you call them? Cock horses." "Cockroaches," corrected Gregor. "Ah, yes. Cockroaches, cock horses is crazy, sir." You know that's not what they were called for real. That's what he said. He said that with his whole chest. He said cock horses. You know that's not what they were called. I actually don't know why they're called cockroaches. I actually don't know why they're called that. I mean, I'm never gonna Google it because I don't want to look at roach pictures. But I don't know why they're called that. Definitely not cockroaches, I can tell you that much. What was it you guys called them? Horse cocks or something like that, sir? Yeah, you know, the bugs, the horse cocks, sir. In the Overland, they are but handfuls, while here they grow largely. How do you know that? Have you been to the Overland? Said Gregor. If Vicus could get there, then so could he in boots. Oh no, such visits are rare as trees. It is the Overlanders who come at times to us. I've met 6 or 7. One called Fred Clark, another called Mickey, and most recently, a woman known as Coco. What are you called, Overlander? Asked Vicus. Gregor, are they still here? Are the other Overlanders still here? Asked Gregor, brightening at the thought. Sadly, no. This is not a gentle place for Overlanders, said Vicus, his face darkening. Gregor stopped, pulling Boots up short. You mean you killed them? Now he'd insulted the guy. We humans kill all the Overlanders. I know of your world, of the evil that transpires there, but we do not kill for sport, said Vicus severely. Today, we have taken you in among us. Had we denied you, count on it, you would not be breathing now. I didn't mean you. I didn't know how it worked here. Stammer. Gregor's a little funny to me. I gotta be honest. Gregor's kind of funny. Gregor loves to do a little back pedal. He's like, oh shit, I did it. My bad. My bad, dog. I thought you guys were like murderers. My bad. I just assumed. I assumed you guys killed people. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just like, I mean, you know, like I'm new. I didn't. I just assume that like everybody's a murderer. That's on me. That's my bad. He's a little funny. He's a little funny. A little bit funny. La cucaracha, la cucaracha. Is that where that song comes from? They're talking about a cockroach. Is that what that comes from? I have no idea. It's always the British. I'm on memes' side this time. It's always the British, the English. They were like, you know what this looks like? We're gonna take that word and snatch that. I think cucaracha would have been cooler. I think we should have just stuck with that. Cockroach is crazy. Like, actually. Cockroach is crazy. Like, who's doing all of that? Cockroach is a little nuts. Cucaracha also makes it sound like mysterious. You know? It's like, oh my god, the cucaracha is here. It's like, the what's here? If you're like, the cockroach is here, you're like, yuck. Disgusting. Gross. It's like, it's too much. But if you were like, the cucaracha is here, it's like, ooh. Imagine the first person to say it. It probably was like some old-timey British, old-timey old English. Old English. What's all that then? What's all that then? Is that a cockroach? Something like that. I'm just saying the word cock over and over again. Let me stop. Alright, I'm locking in. I'm locking in. Gregor is insulting these people. Although he should have guessed that it wasn't very diplomatic to suggest that Vicus, I keep calling that, Vicus was a murderer. So, the roaches would have killed us. The crawlers kill you, said Vicus. No. But it would give them no time. There was that expression again. What did it mean to give the roaches time? But no one else even knows we're here. said Gregor. Vicus looked at him gravely. Concern replaced his anger. Believe me, boy, by this time, every creature in the Underland knows you are here. Gregor resisted an impulse to look over his shoulder. And that's not a good thing, is it? Vicus shook his head. No. That is not, in any manner, a good thing. The old man turned to the exit of the stadium, half a dozen pale, violet eyed guards flanked two gigantic stone doors. I also just have to say, I find it so funny every single time Vicus looks at Gregor because in my head he's looking at him fucking crazy. At like every other part that Vicus is a part of the story, he's looking at Gregor fucking crazy. He's like, oh, this kid is gonna die. He's like, yikes. He's like, this kid, ooh. It took their combined efforts to push the doors open a few feet and to allow Vicus to pass. Gregor led Boots through the doors, and they closed immediately behind him. He followed Vicus down a tunnel lined with stone torches to a small arch filled with something dark and fluttery. Gregor thought it might be more bats, but on closer inspection he saw it was a cloud of tiny black moths. Was this what he passed through when he stumbled into the stadium? Vicus gently slid his hand into the insects. These moths are a warning system peculiar to the Underland, I believe. The moment their pattern of flight is disturbed by an intruder, every bat in the area discerns it. I find it so perfect in its simplicity, he said, and then he vanished into the moths. Behind the curtain of wings, Gregor could hear his voice beckoning. Gregor the Overlander. Roll credits. Gregor the Overlander. Come to the city of Regalia. Gregor glanced down at Boots, who had a puzzled look on her face. Go home, Gregor, she asked. He picked her up and gave her what he hoped was a reassuring hug. Not now, baby. We have to do some things first, and then we'll go home. Gregor took a deep breath and stepped into the moths. Chapter 5. Wow. The Overlander. I could definitely see Disney picking up this as a TV show. I don't think it would make a very good movie because there's 5 books. But like as a TV show, I think they got it. But the only issue is that like there are giant cockroaches, and I'm assuming there's gonna be giant bugs and like creatures in this book. So like the budget would have to be that there would have to be significant budget to animate, do all the CGI for the giant cockroaches. The giant cucarachas. And the rats, because I mentioned rats earlier. So there'd have to be like a decent budget. But I would love to see honestly, I just want to see something else that Suzanne Collins has made get made into a live action, frankly. But unfortunately, she's kind of amazing, and she only did like 2-book series. So she said, I'm gonna write about this child being adultified, and then I'm gonna write about this other child being adultified. She said, I'm gonna write about 2 children being adultified, and that's my legacy. That's it. I'm gonna have 2-book series where children go to war. I like that. She's like, I like putting children in war, and that's it. That's all I'm gonna do. Which, you know, I respect it. I respect that. I don't even know if there's war yet in this book, to be fair. But, like, it doesn't sound good. Also, to be fair, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound like there's not war in this book series, so it doesn't sound like, doesn't sound like the other creatures are gonna like him or anything. I mean, we read the back of the book, the prophecy. We have yet to hear about the prophecy. Slight spoilers. I got spoiled a little bit from the back of the book. I mean, I don't know what the prophecy is, but we'll find out. Chapter 5. The velvety wings brushed past his cheek, and he caught his first sight of Regalia. Wow, he said, stopping in his tracks. Gregor didn't know what he'd expected. Maybe stone houses, maybe caves, something primitive. But there was nothing primitive about the magnificent city that spread before him. They stood on the edge of a valley filled with the most beautiful buildings he'd ever seen. New York was known for its architecture. The elegant brownstones, the towering skyscrapers, the grand museums. But compared with Regalia, it looked unplanned, like a place where someone had lined up a bunch of oddly shaped boxes in rows. The buildings here were all a lovely misty gray, which gave them a dreamlike quality. They seemed to rise directly out of the rock, as if they had been grown, not made by human hands. Thanks much for the follow. Thank you. Hope you're having a good day, good night, wherever you are. I really do. I'm gonna add a little heart in your under. Maybe they weren't as tall as the skyscrapers Gregor knew by name, but they towered high above his head, some at least 30 stories, and finished in artful peaks and turrets. Thousands of torches were placed strategically, so that a soft, dusky light illuminated the entire city. And the carvings. Gregor had seen cherubs and gargoyles on buildings before, but the walls of Regalia crawled with life. People and cockroaches and fish and creatures Gregor had no name for fought and feasted and danced on every conceivable inch of space. Do just people live here, or roaches and bats do? Asked Gregor. This is a city of humans. The others have their own cities, or perhaps lands, might be a more accurate word, said Vicus. Wow, I really want to call him Viscus. The majority of our people live here, though, although some dwell in the suburbs, if their work so dictates. There stands our palace, said Vicus, directing Gregor's eye to a huge circular fortress at the far edge of the valley. There we are headed. The light shining from the city's many windows gave it a festive look, and Gregor felt his heart lighten a little. New York City glittered all night long, too. Maybe this place wasn't so foreign after all. It's really great, he said. He would have loved to explore it if he didn't need to get home so badly. Yes, said Vicus, as his eyes took in the city fondly. My people, have much love of stone. We had time. Had we time? I'm like fixing the grammar in my head. Had we time, I think we might create a land of rare beauty. I think you might have already, said Gregor. I mean, it's way more beautiful than anything in the Overland. Vicus seemed pleased. Come, the palace has the fairest view in the city. You will have time to admire before we dine. As Gregor followed him down the road, Boots tilted back her head, turning it from side to side. What'd you lose, Boots? Moon, said Boots. Usually, you couldn't see the stars from where they lived, but the moon was visible on clear nights. The moon. Gregor looked up into the inky black sky and then realized that, of course, there was no sky. They were in some kind of gigantic underground cavern. No moon, little girl. No moon tonight, he said. A cow jump moon, she said matter-of-factly. Agreed Gregor. If roaches talked and bats played ball games, then probably there was a cow jumping a moon somewhere too. He sighed as he pictured the tattered nursery rhyme book in a box by Boots's crib at home. People stared openly at them from the windows as they passed. Vicus acknowledged a few, nodding or calling out a name, and they'd raise their hands back in greeting. Boots noticed and began to wave. Hi, she called, hi. And while none of the adults answered her, nobody wants to talk to the baby, Gregor saw a few little kids wave back. You hold great fascination for them, said Vicus, indicating the people in the windows. We do not get many visits from the Overland. How did you know I was from New York? Asked Gregor. There are but 5 known gateways to the Underland, said Vicus. 2 lead to the land. Whoa, whoa, whoa. 2 lead to the dead land. But you never have survived those. 2 gateways open into the waterway, but your clothing is quite dry. You are alive, you are dry. From this, I surmise you have fallen through the 5th gateway, the mouth of which I know to be in New York City. It's in our laundry room. Kerr blurted out, right in our apartment building. Somehow the fact that his laundry room connected to this strange place made him feel invaded. Your laundry room? Yes, said Vicus thoughtfully. Well, your fall coincided most favorably with the currents. The currents? You mean that misty stuff? Asked Gregor. Yes. They allow you to arrive here in one piece. Timing is all. said Vicus. What happens if the timing is off? Asked Gregor, but he already knew the answer. Then we have a body to bury instead of a guest, said Vicus quietly. That in truth is the most common outcome. A living overlander like yourself plus your sister, well, this is most singular. I was like, Vicus, I'm 11. Vicus, my man, I'm 11. Why are you telling me about the bodies that you're burying? Like, I feel like in my head I'm seeing Gregor with like a propeller hat and like a giant lollipop. Like a propeller hat and a giant lollipop while he's holding a literal baby. And he's like, okay, body is buried, right. Right, okay. Cool, yeah. Very cool, yes. I am 11 years old. Yes, this is great. My dad disappeared 2 years ago. This is fantastic. Now I'm chilling with roaches. This is great. Wow. Like, Vicus, what's like, you know what, this is actually giving me very much Adventure Time vibes. It's giving me Adventure Time vibes. Like not season 1, but like season 3 maybe. Like season 3, you know, when they started adding plot. And sometimes you get an episode where it'd be like the most ridiculous shit ever, but then at the end they just like, they make you so depressed for no reason. That's what this feels like. It's like, oh my god, isn't it so silly? Like, the portal is in my laundry room, and then Vicus is like, yes. And if you hadn't fallen when the mist was here, you would have been a body, and so would have your sister. And it's like, oh my god. It's like, Vicus, that was a silly moment. What the hell? It's a lot. Also, we're taking a 3-minute ad break. We're taking a 3-minute ad break. This will be the last ad break that we have. Because your boy is gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna finish this chapter. Oh damn, this chapter's kinda long. I'm gonna finish this chapter and then we're gonna pause because I'm gonna go to bed. Is the last ad break. And that's the joke they would have ended on. Absolutely. They would have been like, yes, and now your bodies, it would have been like Bubblegum telling them that. Like Princess Bubblegum would have said that, and then it just would have like froze on their faces, and then it would have cut to black, and that would have been the end of the Adventure Time episode. Because that's how it works in Adventure Time. And they'd never speak of it again. It's like that goddamn deer. Do you remember the deer episode? And they were like, I'm looking for the thing, and they were like, yeah, we're just like never gonna talk about that deer ever again. And it's like, I think we probably should have talked about the deer again. That deer with the freaky ass fingers. Oh my god. Anyway, nothing about Adventure Time. Let's lock in. Let's lock in. It took a good 20 minutes to reach the palace, and Gregor's arms began to tremble from carrying boots. Somehow, he didn't want to put her down, but it didn't seem safe with all the torches around. As they approached the magnificent structure, Gregor noticed there was nothing carved on it. The sides were as smooth as glass, and the lowest window opened 200 feet above the ground. Something was off, but he couldn't quite place it. Something was missing. "There's no door," he said aloud. "No," said Vicus. "Doors are for those who lack enemies. Even the most accomplished climber cannot find a foothold here." Oh my god, wait a minute, he actually spit a little bit. I had to read that twice. Doors are for those who lack enemies. Yo. Vicus, what the hell? I think you do need a door though. Doors are for those who lack enemies. He said, "Are you trying to get caught lacking? That's crazy." He said, "We don't have doors. The fuck? What? Do you want enemies to come and break it down?" I kinda like that. I like that energy. I like that energy, I do. I had to read that one twice. It's a good one. That's my favorite line so far. Thanks much for the follow. I hope you're having a good day, good night, wherever you are. He said, "What the fuck do you need a door for?" He said, "Even if they're good at climbing, they wouldn't be able to climb this building." That's nuts. Gregor ran his hand. Wow. Gregor ran his hand along the polished stone wall. There isn't a crack, not even the tiniest nick in the surface. "So, how do you get inside?" "We usually fly, but if one's bat cannot accommodate." Vicus gestures above his head. Gregor craned his neck back and saw that a platform was being rapidly lowered from a large rectangular window. It caught on the ropes that supported it about a foot from the ground, and Vicus stepped aboard. Gregor climbed on with boots. His recent fall to the Underland had only reinforced how much he disliked heights. The platform immediately rose and he grabbed hold of the side rope to steady himself. Vicus stood calmly with his hands folded before him. But then, Vicus wasn't holding a wiggly 2-year-old, and he'd probably ridden this thing 1,000,000 times. The ascent was rapid and even. The platform leveled off at the window before a small stone staircase. Oh my god, they don't have elevators over here. What the fuck? Oh my god, I'd be so tired. I'd be so tired. I would be so tired. Oh my god, staircase, stone staircase. Took 20 minutes to walk to this building. What the hell? Speaking of Adventure Time, reminds me, Batman and B. What are you saying to me right now? What are the words you're using to speak to me in this moment? Gregor just walked 20 minutes from where they were. He just said it took 20 minutes for them to get to the palace, and he's been holding that baby the whole time. 20 minutes, then I gotta walk again up some stairs. Like, oh my god, put an elevator in here. You put Batman at B. I put that specific Batman at B. I put other Batmans higher. He's locked in. He's locked the fuck in. You gotta be. I put other Batmans higher. always be tier. Other Batman was higher. And I stand by that. A group of 3 Underlanders, all with the same translucent skin and violet eyes, waited to greet him. Good late day, said Vicus, nodding to the Underlanders. Meet you, Gregor and Boots, the Overlanders, brother and sister, who have most recently fallen among us. Please bathe them, and then proceed to the High Hall. Without a backward glance, Vicus strode out of the room. Gregor and the Underlanders stared awkwardly at one another. None of them had Lux's arrogance or Vicus's easy, commanding presence. They're just regular people, he thought. I bet they feel as weird as I do. Nice to meet you, he said, shifting Boots over to his other hip. Say hi, Boots. Hi, said Boots, waving at the Underlanders and looking completely delighted. Hi, you. The Underlanders' reserve melted like butter in a skillet. They all laughed, and the stiffness went out of their bodies. Gregor found himself laughing too. His mom said Boots never knew a stranger, which meant she thought everybody in the world was her friend. I love children like that, actually. I think they're so cute. I'm not really like a kid person. Like, some people like kids, and they're like, oh, every baby is precious. I don't really like fawn over children like that. You know, that's not my thing. When I see a baby, I'm like, cool, baby. I'm like, alright, that is a child. But like children that are just like open and warm and just like love everybody, I just think they're so cool. Because I'm like, damn, that's crazy. The mental illness never hit you. I'm like, wow, that really is something. It's actually like crazy to watch. Like children that have like no sense of danger, because like this shit was just sweet, or like they just have that personality. Because even when kids are like raised in a certain environment, some kids have like no sense of danger. That's just something, some kids just don't have that. And it's actually like fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. I gotta respect standing by my decision, of course. I was right. I explained my decision very clearly. You guys wanted me to put every single Batman television show in like S tier, and that's not possible. Every single Batman television show is not S tier. Like, you can make your own tier list and put every single Batman television show in S tier, but I'm like, that's not how that works. Objectively, that wasn't never gonna happen. I stand by every decision I've ever made on a tier list. I stand by that. Gregor sometimes wished he could be more like that. He had a couple of good friends, but he avoided becoming part of any one clique at school. It all came down to who you ate lunch with. He could have sat with the guys he ran track with, or the band kids, but instead he liked being with Angelina, who was always in some school play, and Larry, who he mostly just drew stuff. Some people who didn't really know him thought Gregor was stuck up, but it was mostly just private. He had more trouble opening up to people after his dad left. But even before that, he'd never been as friendly as Boots. A young woman who looked about 15 stepped forward and held out her arms. I am called Dulcet. May I take you, Boots? Would you care for a bath? Boots looked at Gregor for confirmation. It's okay. Bath time. You want a bath, Boots? He asked. Yes, cried Boots happily. Bath. She reached out to Dulcet, who took her from Gregor's arms. Meet you, Merith and Perita, said Dulcet, indicating the man and woman next to her. They were both tall and muscular, and although they didn't carry weapons, Gregor had a feeling they were guards. Hey, he said. Merith and Perita both gave him formal but friendly nods. Dulcet wrinkled her nose and poked Boots gently in the tummy. You have need of a clean catchcloth, she said. Gregor could guess what a catchcloth was. Oh yeah, her diaper needs to be changed. It had been a while. She's gonna get a rash. I will attend to it, said Dulcet with an amused smile, and Gregor couldn't help but think how much nicer she was than Luxa. You will follow to the waters, Gregor the Overlander. Yes, thank you. I will follow to the waters, said Gregor. He was struck by how formal he sounded, but he didn't want the Underlanders to think he was making fun of them. The roaches had been so easy to insult. I mean, yeah, thanks. Dulcet nodded and waited for him to fall in step behind her. Merith and Perita followed a few steps behind. They're guards, all right, thought Gregor. The group left the entrance room and walked down a spacious hallway. They passed dozens of arched doorways that opened into large chambers, staircases, and halls. Gregor quickly realized he needed a map to navigate this place. He could ask directions, but that wouldn't be too smart if he was trying to escape. They could call him their guest, but it didn't change the fact that he and Boots were prisoners. Guests could leave if they wanted to. Prisoners had to escape, and that's exactly what he intended to do. That's my only thing about Gregor, is that he has that 11-year-old mindset. Because didn't he just tell you that it's much harder to get your ass up? Even when he was there with the roaches, he was thinking about it, and he was like, I can't even climb this because I have to carry Boots on my back. I have to carry my sister, and I would not be able to scale this thing with my sister in my arms. So they were falling for like 25 minutes, and he's like, yeah, I'll just scale it. I'll just scale it. It's like the unmitigated gall of this kid. You're intending to escape to go where exactly? Where are you going? But how? Exactly, but how? Even if he could find his way back to the platform, no one would let him down. And he couldn't jump 200 feet to the ground. There must be other ways to enter the palace, he thought. There must be. I have never met an Overlander before, said Dulcet, interrupting his train of thought. It is only because of the baby I meet you now. Because of Boots, said Gregor. I take care of the young ones for many, said Dulcet. I would not usually meet so important a person as an Overlander, she said shyly. Well, that's too bad, Dulcet, said Gregor, because you're the nicest person I've met here yet. Dulcet blushed, and boy, when these people blushed, they really blushed. Her skin turned pink as a ripe watermelon. Not just her face either. She colored to the tips of her fingers. Oh, she stammered, very embarrassed. Oh, that is too kind for me to accept. Behind him, two guards murmured something to each other. Gregor guessed he had said something way out of line, but he didn't know what. Maybe you weren't supposed to imply that a nanny was nicer than the queen, even if it was true. He was gonna have to be more careful about what he said. Fortunately, just then they stopped at a doorway. He could hear water running and steam wafted out into the hall. Must be the bathroom, he thought. He looked inside and saw that a wall divided the rooms into two sections. I will take Boots, and you go in here, said Dulcet, indicating one side. Gregor guessed it must be girls on one side, boys on the other, like locker rooms. He thought maybe he should stay with Boots, but he felt as if he could trust Dulcet, and he didn't want to upset her again. I'm so sorry if that was me and my sister. I'm so sorry. I will take care of her. You are not washing my child. You are not washing my fucking sibling. That's just me. I know he's 11, so I'm gonna let it slide, but like, if that were me, I got it. Show me where the supplies are. I got it. I am not letting you take my sibling. What if I don't get her back? I don't know you. I mean, yeah, these people seem nice, but it's like, I don't know you. What if I don't get her back? And now what? And then what? Okay, Boots. See you soon. Bye-bye. Waved Boots over Dulcet's shoulder. Clearly, she wasn't having any separation anxiety. Gregor veered off to the right. The place did kind of resemble a locker room if locker rooms were gorgeous and smelled good. Exotic sea creatures were carved into the walls, and oil lamps cast a golden glow. Okay, but it's got benches and lockers, sort of, he thought, taking in the rows of stone benches and the open cubicles that lined one side of the room. Meredith had followed him in. He addressed Gregor nervously. This place is the changing room. Here are the rooms for relief and cleansing. Can I get you anything, Gregor the Overlander? No thanks. I think I can figure it out, said Gregor. We shall be in the hall if you have need, said Meredith. Okay, thanks a lot, said Gregor. When the Underlander ducked out of the door, he felt the muscles in his face release. It was good to be alone. I do also feel like they're gonna get separated at one point, but like, I don't know when that's gonna be. I also have that feeling. I didn't like the fact that they went together to this place. I was like, I don't love that. But okay. He made quick inspection of the place. The relief room held only a solid stone chair with a opening cut in the middle. Looking inside, Gregor saw water ran continuously in a stream underneath it. Oh, it must be the toilet, he thought. The cleansing room had a small steaming pool with steps that led down into the water. A fragrant smell filled the air. His whole body ached to get into the water. Gregor quickly returned to the changing room and stripped off his sweaty clothes. Feeling self-conscious, he peed in the toilet, and then he hurried to the pool as he should. Take your pre-pee. Take your pre-pee before you get into the public pool. Take your pre-pee. You gotta pee first, even when you feel like you don't have to, before you get into the water. You can't just be going in there. You gotta pee first, because you never know how the water's gonna make you feel. You gotta take your pre-pee. Then he hurried into the pool. He tested the temperature with his toe and slowly walked down into the steamy water. It reached his waist, but he discovered the pool had a bench around it. When he sat down, the water licked his ears. A current washed over him, releasing the knots in his shoulders and back. Gregor cut the surface of a pool with his hand, and the water ran through his fingers. Like the water in the toilet, it flowed in one end of the bath and out the other. It must be some kind of underground stream, he thought. He sat up straight as the idea hit him. The water came from somewhere. It went somewhere. If water could get in and out of the palace, maybe he could too. Chapter 6, and that is where we're gonna pause for tonight. Also, that's stupid, Gregor. That's stupid. That's stupid. That's stupid. Because, like, what if it's an underground stream, Gregor? Like, I understand he's like, yeah, the water, everything connects to the ocean. Right? So, like, if I just follow the stream, it will eventually lead me outside. But it's like, motherfucker, I know he's 11. But it's like, sir, what if it's just underwater? What if it's like just underneath the rock? It actually reminds me of like those underwater volcanoes where there's like pools of water in certain areas, where pools of water like deep into the ground, where it's just like there's just like hot baths happening deep underneath the grounds, and it's like, yeah, we'll never get there because it would kill us to get there. It would kill us to get there. And I think about that all the time, where I'm just like, damn, there's like hot springs down there that we'll never be able to touch. And it's like, sir, what if it's one of those? And it's like, what if they just got it and it's like it actually doesn't lead anywhere? It's just underneath the stone. There is no escape. I don't know, if I was Gregor, I would understand, like, yes, my mom is probably freaking out because 2 of her kids are gone, her husband's gone, 2 of her kids are gone at this point, but like, I would first be thinking about a hot bath and then dinner. I gotta keep my strength up, and then a nice nap. So I'm gonna need to take care of my bodily needs first, and then I would just ask everybody where the exit is, because clearly there's an exit. That's just what I would do. I wouldn't be searching for the exit myself. I wouldn't be doing that. I would simply just ask where the exit is. That's all I would do. Simply asking a question. That's not to say that like they would tell me the right answer. I mean, they might lie to me. But it's like, I think that he fares much better just asking. He fares better just asking what's up. Versus doing whatever he's doing. Exactly, I would bide my time. I'm an information collector. I like collecting information. So I would be collecting information before I start making a plan. Like, yeah, I'm gonna follow the water outside. What if the stream goes to the rat kingdom? Like, it sounds like I'm joking, but I'm being like dead ass. Like, what if it goes to the rat kingdom? And then I just end up in the rat kingdom. Like, I would be so sick. Oh my god, or cockroach land. Oh my god, I'm stuck in fucking cockroach land. I would be sick to my tummy. That would be awful. Why would I want to be in cockroach land? Exactly, like, you don't know where the water is going. You have zero idea of where the water is gonna take you. Why are you there? You have like zero concept of where the water is going to take you. What? I would not be going there. That's just me. That's just me. I would be collecting information, be like, how does this city work? When was the last human there? That's another thing I would ask. When was the last human? Please let me know. When was the last human here? I would love to hear about it. That would be fantastic. So I can get some more information anyway. I'm EP, I'm sleepy. I gotta go to rest. I just wanted to make sure I finish that chapter. I will pick this book up next time. Next week at some point. Since I started it, I don't know when I'm gonna do it again. Book club is back on. It's just, I used to have Thursdays dedicated to book club, and now I'm like so exhausted on Thursdays. And I just can't do it anymore. I'm so exhausted on Thursdays, so I don't know about me doing that anymore. But we'll see. I'm just gonna take it week by week. I'll pick up the book when I'm no longer tired. I'll pick up the book again when I have time to pick up the book, is my answer for that. Yeah, book club is back on the menu. I actually am curious about this book. It's good. It's good. It's good. We love. I'm gonna raid Catastrophe because they're doing a ASMR stream. I am. If no one has told you, you are in fact loved by and appreciated and deserve to that every single day of your life, and I'm happy to be one person this lifetime that tells you that you are loved, you are valued, and you are in fact appreciated. I do not stream on Sundays, but I will be back on Monday. I don't know what I'm gonna do on Monday. Something. I don't know. ASMR or art stream, whatever I want. I don't know. We'll see. Or a game. I don't know. It's not Monday yet. If no one has told you, oh yeah, you're loved, valued, appreciated. What else? If you want to follow me, I'm active on Twitter. I'm active on Discord. I'm active elsewhere. I had a lot of fun tonight. It was great. I love book streams. I do. They're fun for me, and it was fun to get back into the book. Suzanne Collins. This is kind of like a slower burn, but you know, I'm excited to see where else the rest of the book takes us. Like I said, back on Monday. 3 times a week now. Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays are my stream days. 9 p.m. About 9 p.m. PST is when I usually stream. That is well. And as always, until next time, bye, goodbye. I'm done. I'm just making sure that I'm a part of the raid. And I actually raided out. And I factually rated out. Joke, wait, I did. Oh my gosh, why is that thing not working? Joke.